Good afternoon, Pastor Courtney. I'm certainly here. Are you hearing me?
Loudly and clearly.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sports Talk right here on the family station, Love 101 FM. Today is February 21, 2026. Yes, and this is another edition of Sports Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica and also on the app. So if you're listening to us on the app, big up yourself. And if you have not yet downloaded the Love 101 FM app, I can tell you where you can download it. It's available on the in the App Store, Love 101 FM Jamaica, and it's also available in the Google Play Store. That's at Love 101 FM Jamaica. And the app kind of looks a little bit different, but it's still us. We're doing some upgrades to our app, so you'll see a few little new features. Tune in, log on, click on anywhere you are. And for those who are joining us on 101.13579, good afternoon to you. And my sports enthusiast, good afternoon to you. So happy to be with you guys. So today is a what do you call it now? An interesting Saturday, right? And as you can hear, I'm a little bit under the weather, but we're not watching the face. The sports continue. The sport will continue. Sports continue whether I'm ill or not. Sports will continue. And of course, we want to start as usual with what is going on within the English Premier League. Because we normally start with what's going on in the English Premier League. For my viewers, listeners, you guys know how we start. We start with football. And no, I think somebody asked me last week, is football is my favorite sport. I don't necessarily have a favorite sport. I think it's a toss-up because I love cricket, I love football, I love track and field, I love netball, I love field hockey, I love swimming. You can see basketball, yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot of them. So I don't choose one because of that. And some of them I would have participated in when I was in high school as well. I mean, high school and primary school. So yeah, just trying to be an all rounder here. But all right, so let's start off now with the results in the English Premier League, and then we can definitely give you an update as to what's going on in the corporate air champs. Hopefully, I'm also to give you some updates from the Western champs also happening. That's happening at the GC Foster College, and corporate air champs that's happening at the Ashenine Stadium. Just in case you don't know where that is, that's Jamaica College. So if you're in any of those areas, there's track and field abound going on today. And of course, later today, the Reggae Boys will play Martinique. And yeah, so it's a lot of cricket happening, basketball. Yeah, man, stick and stay, stick and stay, stick and stay. All right, so let's start off now with the English Premier League, and we're officially in round number 27 of the English Premier League. So we'll talk about the games that happened this start talking about the games to come, and then I'll tell you what's really, really going on, right? All right, so this morning, Brighton, they defeated Brentford 2 goals to 1. Aston Villa and Leeds, they played to a 1-1 draw. Chelsea finished their game with 10 men, played to a 1-1 draw with Burnley. And after 34 minutes, it is now 0-0 between West Ham and Bournemouth. Now to I'd say one of the interesting games of this particular round, number 27. It's Manchester City versus Newcastle. And you might say, Kathya, why is this game interesting? I'll soon tell you. I'm going to come back to it because I have to give you the point standing so that I can, carry along my thought process. All right. And then tomorrow, now, not Manchester City versus Newcastle. So that's today at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Nottingham Forest will play Liverpool. Crystal Palace will play Wolves. Sunderland will play Fulham. Tottenham will play Arsenal at 11:30. Again, another feature match for this round number 27. And I'll very much soon tell you why it is. And then we have Everton playing Manchester United, and that's going to be Monday afternoon football for the Manchester United and Everton fans. All right, so before I go into those two featured games, Man City, Newcastle, and Tottenham, Arsenal, let's give you the point standings, especially what's going on at the top. All right, so Arsenal, they've played 27 games so far. They are currently on 58 points. Manchester City, they're in second, having played 26 games. So the today's game against Newcastle will make Manchester City's 27th game. They're on 53 points. Aston Villa are in fourth on 51 points. Behind them is Chelsea on 45 points, and Manchester United is set to play on 45 points. They're in fifth on 45 points. No, if Manchester United win their game tomorrow, or rather on Monday against Everton, they will shoot up into fourth place. If they draw, they'll also shoot up into fourth place. But if they lose, they'll stay in fifth place. Liverpool also has the ability to climb up, because if they win today, rather tomorrow when they play, they will shoot into 45 points. And so will technically, I suspect if Liverpool wins tomorrow, then we could have, going into that Manchester United game on Monday, 3 teams on 45 points. But that's not it. That's interesting, because it's still those 3 teams battling it out for who is going to play in the Champions League. But that's not it. You know how we've been saying Arsenal is at the top, and Arsenal looking like they're gonna win the title, and Arsenal. Well, yeah. So while Arsenal are still favorites to win the title, it's getting a bit interesting. It's not a runaway title. They definitely have some company up at the top. So let's look at it. So let's go back now. So Manchester City, who will play at 3 o'clock today, they're currently on 53 points. If Manchester City wins today, they will be on 56 points. That's 2 points adrift Arsenal. Now, remembering now that Manchester City does have a game in hand, because when Arsenal plays tomorrow, even if Arsenal wins their game tomorrow, Manchester City still has a game in hand. And if Manchester City wins that game in hand, then they will actually go on top of the standings. So the title race for the Arsenal fans out there, yeah, man, I know this is where you feel like your team is buckling. And I don't know. I'm no, early in the season, coming into January, you guys, Arsenal, that is, they went through the Christmas period pretty good. Don't know now that is the back end of the season. It's starting to look a little shaky, Arsenal fans. I don't know. The team feels as if it's buckling under the pressure. But the thing is that, so while Arsenal feels as if they're buckling under pressure, we know what Pep Guardiola and Manchester City can do, and they kind of had the ups, downs, bid, but for them to come back to this point, just points adrift of Arsenal. And I mean, if Manchester City wins today, we know that Arsenal is going to be under serious pressure, because now they're just going to be 2 points behind Arsenal. I don't think other than further earlier in the season that anybody has been this close. I think Aston Villa did come a little close to Arsenal, but Arsenal kind of have a little company up at the top going on right now. So over the next few weeks in the English Premier League is going to be very interesting. Can Arsenal hold their own, or can Manchester City win another title, which would be title number 5, that is? You want to be tuned in so that you can hear what's really going to happen. And if Arsenal does not win this title, does Arsenal move away from coach or manager Mikel Arteta? Interesting. And is this Pep Guardiola's farewell season, that he goes one last time, I give it one last shot, and will Manchester City win that title? It's coming down to crunch time in the English Premier League, and let me tell you, for a person like me who's a neutral, because neutral because my side cannot win the title. Right now my side trying to play in Europe next year, so it is fun for me, fun for me, right? All right, so then that's what's really going on now for the title race in the English Premier League. So the days are coming down, but the pressure is heating up. All right, let's now go to what's going on the bottom of the table, because somebody's gonna win, but somebody has to lose. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about who's going down. West Ham, they're currently in 18th place, and they are currently 2 points adrift safety right now. But the team that is above them, which is Nottingham Forest, has 27 points, and you know how it goes. You're behind, you're trying to catch up. But one thing I've known, as I've seen today in this Chelsea match, Burnley, who is in 19th place, so you probably think that while them not really playing for anything, but one thing I've known, or one thing we've come to understand about teams in the English Premier League, is that when that side is playing to kind of stay out of relegation, is the best football you'll get from those teams. And so those teams that are battling relegation or looking as if they're going down, they become very, very dangerous at this end of the season. And so, boy, I tell you, it's as I said, things happening at the top and things happening at the bottom. So Burnley, they're in 19th place on 19 points. Still, I would say a little off the pace. And Wolves, they're in 20th place on 10 points. And really and truly, the fat lady is starting to sing for Wolves, and I don't think they're going to stay up. But that does not mean that they're not going to play good football for the rest of the season and probably give their best football, because they already know that they're playing in the championship next year. So it doesn't matter to them. This is the time of the season, as I said, those teams that are at the bottom of the table, one is when they play their best football, but two is where they don't care. They don't care if they get red cards. It really doesn't matter. And they just play some crazy football, whether it look good or whether it look bad. So, and they have no pressure playing for it. They really have nothing playing for it, because they already know that, hey, next season my team is going to be playing the championship. So this is our last season. We won't be in the Premier League, so might as well I make my mark. Some of the players, they give their all now, so maybe they will attract a team that is staying up in terms of the Premier League. So that these particular games to come will be very, very, very exciting in the English Premier League. And of course, it's only 38 games that will be played, right? So it means that if we're now at around 27, so we only have 11 rounds of game left to play in the English Premier League, and it's really all or nothing right now. Most teams, unless you're like in the middle of the table, you're either trying to stop a team from winning a title, or you're trying to ensure that a team get relegated, or you're trying to scave off relegation, or you're trying to be in the Champions League next year. So a lot of things, a lot of stories to work with. And yeah, so stick and stay, because I'm gonna get all the information here. But yeah, and with that, we're gonna go for our first break right here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
Word Light and Power Victory Ministry invites you to our 24th annual Victory March on Sunday, February 22 in Penline Castle. Residents from Nest Castle, Tower Hill, Mount Lebanon, and surrounding areas, come out and hear the word from Minister Stanford Bennett with music from Petra Kay, Sister Nikki, and Apostle Kareem Gregory. Come with your praise and requests and hear victory testimonies. For more information, please call 876-425-9222.
The Gospel International presents a Breaking Barriers Liberty Edition on Saturday, February 28th, 2026 at the Maple New Testament Church, 57 Manchester Avenue, Clarendon, featuring Gotti Gotti, Sister Pat, John Mark Wiccan, Orphe Sutherland, and more. Tickets 2,500 pre-sold, 3,500 at the gate. Children under 13, $1,000. Ticket outlets, Tate's Pharmacy, Maypen, Gibson Petroleum on Manchester Avenue, Morris Fish Hut at Clarendon Park. MCs Dexter Johnson and yours truly, the essence of Hits 92 FM. Sponsored by The Gospel International, Nick Wade, Garden Gold Cosmetics, Morris Fish and Jerk Hut, Good Line Pharmacy, Gibson Petroleum. That's Saturday, February 28, 2026. Breaking Barriers Liberty Edition. Be there.
Every blessing they have you get. God, me know you're not a fair.
We now return you to Lady Kathya Davis on Sports Talk. It's now 1:15. Boy, Kathya, I might tell you, my heart hurt me because I'm an Arsenal fan. For no offer snatch the feet out of the jaws of victory.
Boy, I don't know, man. I don't know. Only can send a message to the team. Why when the team are flatter? Pastor Courtney? I feel so sorry for your Arsenal fans, you know.
But I really don't know.
Will you guys be singing Almost Had It at the end of the season again?
It wouldn't be a new song. It wouldn't be a new song. Oh,
let me tell you, ladies out there listening, if your husband, fiance, anybody, father, anybody is an Arsenal fan, must know that they're committed to the cause, okay? Because, boy. Anyways. Right. Welcome back to Sports Talk right here on the family station, Love 101 FM. All right, so just a few things. So we were moving from the English Premier League to the Jamaica Premier League. Now, whilst Jamaica, the senior men and the under 20 will be in action, or I think the under 20 they're in camp, but the senior team will be in action later today, and we'll talk about that game coming up against Martinique. Right? Some of the games in the Jamaica Premier League actually will be postponed. And I'm actually trying to get what the games that will be played tomorrow, because I know a lot of the games will be postponed because of missing players from the different Jamaica Premier League teams, whether through under 20 call-ups or they're currently representing the national team in Martinique. But before we do that, let's talk about the games that happened last weekend, and then I give you the point standings. Right? So, Chapelton Maroons, they won 2-0 over Treasure Beach. Spanish Town Police Harborview, they ended their game with Spanish Town Police, they defeated Harborview 1 goal to nil. However, both teams ended their game with 10 men. All right. Racing United, they were able to secure a 1-0 victory over Malines. And of course, Malines, that they ended that game also with 10 men. See? So many red cards were given out last week in the Jamaica Premier League. I wonder what's going on there. Mount Pleasant, they were 4-0 winners over Dunby Holding. Montego Bay United, they were able to carve out a 1-0 victory over Cavalier. Waterhouse and Tivoli Gardens, they played to a 1-0 draw, while Portmore defeated Arnett Gardens 2-0. And then later down in the week, Harborview, they were able to carve out a 1-0 victory over Mount Pleasant, who ended that game with 10 men. So between the end of round 23 and the beginning of round 24, 4 red cards were given out in the Jamaica Premier League. Right. About that. So I'm going to give you now the point standings, which would be, on average, now teams would have, except for Mount Pleasant, now played 23 games or 24 games. In the case of Mount Pleasant, Harborview, Cavalier, they would have only played 22 games so far. All right, so Montego Bay United, they're still on the top of the Jamaica Premier League on 49 points. Racing United, they're in second, still doing very well. Racing in second, 42 points, same as their neighbors, or I would say City. Should I say City rivals? Because Racing is also based in Portmore. So Portmore United, they're also on 42 points. Racing having a better goal difference. Mount Pleasant, they sit in fourth on 41 points. However, they've only played 22 games so far. Waterhouse, they're in fifth. Having played 24 games, they're on 34 points. And Chapelton Maroons Phoenix, yeah, whatever you want to say, they have played 32 or 23 games so far, and they're on 32 points. There is still a chance. So while the English Premier League is coming down, the chase to the playoffs in the Jamaica Premier League is still on, because the top 6 teams will qualify for the playoffs. And I just want to sort of give you a little there now. So the team in 6th place, which is Shepton Maroons, they're on 32 points. The team right below them is Arnett Gardens on 30 points. And the team below Arnett Gardens in 8th place is Cavalier on 29 points. Cavalier, though, have a few games in hand. Then below Cavalier in 9th place is Tivoli Gardens, also on 29 points. And below that is Dunby Holding on 26 points. So between 6th place and I'd say 10th place is only separated really by 8 points. So it's really, I'd say, between 5th and 10th place. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams vying now for 2 spots in the playoffs. So it is about to go down too in the Jamaica Premier League, and every game will matter. Every result at this point of the season in the Jamaica Premier League is going to matter, and especially you're looking at international duties, you're looking at under 20s. It is going to get very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, because with some players missing, how would the teams adapt? It's about to get interesting. All right, let's talk now about the other interesting factor. So we're looking to the playoffs, but we're also looking to who are the teams that are actually going to go down in terms of be relegated from the Jamaica Premier League. So Spanish Town Police, they're currently on 15th. They're currently in 14th place on 15 points. And just above them is Harborview. Harborview, they have 2 games in hand. They're in 19th place. Now, it gets interesting because Harborview has 2 games in hand. Treasure Beach is just above Harborview on 22 points. And above them is Mullines United on 23 points. And then comes the team, Dunby Holding, on 26 points. So, really and truly, anything can, between 10th place and 13th place, anything can happen. And between 5th place and 10th place, anything can happen. So you're either trying to scave off relegation or you're trying to get into the playoffs. So, and especially for a team like Dunby Holding, they're in a very precarious position, because they're either gonna hold their own, stay in the league, try to go for playoffs, or they might find themselves being relegated. Same thing for Treasure Beach. I mean, Treasure Beach, based on this now, I think they're a bit off trying to get to the playoffs, but definitely trying to fight for their lives and stay up in the league. Of course, we know Treasure Beach and Spanish Town Police. I believe those are the returning teams to the Jamaica Premier League. I think Spanish Town Police is finding it a little bit difficult. But I'm sure they would have learned many lessons being up into the top league of the country. And, they've lost some players to the bigger teams. And, players are always there. They've been changing coaches. Between them and Harborview, I mean, I just wait. It's like I just sit and I wait. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to change the coach this week. And then 2 weeks. And then a coach stay and then them gone. So I don't know, trying to also establish some sort of format or some sort of unity and some sort of camaraderie with the team is, I guess, gets interesting as well. So that's what's going on in the Jamaica Premier League. And I said, most of the games between tomorrow and Monday, they will be postponed because, again, of what's going on later on in Martinique. Today, Jamaica plays Martinique at 6 o'clock. And also the under-20 squad, which I want to give you some updates on as well. All right, so let's now talk about the upcoming game. But before we do that, before I tell you what is gonna happen in terms of Jamaica playing Martinique today, there was a statement released by the Jamaica Premier League that I think I wanna go into a little bit, right? Jamaica Premier League, they released a statement, or the PFJL, unauthorized streaming prohibited, and it spoke about no recordings, live streaming, rebroadcasting, or uploading of footage without written authorization. And of course, reminding the patrons that when you come to a game, your match tickets, they grant entry and not broadcasting rights. And of course, in terms of the violators, they will be removed from the venue. They will be banned from future matches, or they will be subject to legal action. And of course, if you're also sharing the unauthorized content, they're asked to cease immediately and remove it. And of course, they said, to watch only via official broadcasters and platforms, JPL TV, YouTube. And this is very interesting because guess what? We've entered into a stage in the Jamaica Premier League where we've gone months now, until recently, we've gone months now without games being streamed. No, the game started out, the season started out on a good note-ish, Well, you were able to access the games on a free-to-air and on a cable channel. Don't know what has happened with that. And then the game stopped. And so you were only able to access the results from the Jamaica Premier League side. You weren't able to see matches. So other persons started to stream. Then the Jamaica Premier League with Jamaica Premier League TV has come on and started to stream. But the problem is they're only streaming one game per week. That is an issue for me because while I don't want any unauthorized person to be streaming games, people want to know what is going on in the game, especially through the diaspora. So I think the PFJL, they have their work cut out for them because they have to find a way to be streaming more games. It cannot be that we have the local league and people are unable to see the league. How does that make sense? How does that even make sense? Because the players, they need the exposure. People need to be seeing them on the TV. People need to be able to have access to them, where all of this footage and all of this work that would have been coming through, especially through Sportsmax and all of that. I mean, we don't want to look as if we're going into a stage that we're going backwards instead of forward. And I'm really hoping that the PFJL and their stakeholders are actually carving out a plan, at least for the playoffs, because it would make no sense to me that, again, we're having local football. People are now interested because guess what? Some teams have the crowd, some teams don't have the crowd. And people are interested now in what is going on in our local football, especially because we now have an interim coach who is locally based. People also want to see how that team that he's in charge of or has some oversight on is also performing. We also have other teams in the whether or not the team is going up or the team is going down or the team is trying to qualify for playoffs. People in the diaspora, we have to get away that we are streaming our games. And so, as I said before, I'm really, really hoping that the PFJL and all the stakeholders, JFF, everybody kind of sit down, figure out. I don't know what the figuring out is going to look like. It may mean that, as a friend and I were discussing the other day, it may mean that we have to go to different stations. So like what happens in the NBA, that some games are come on Amazon Prime, some games come on NBC, some games come on ESPN, and so several persons have the rights to broadcast game, whether it's going to be a Sunday night football, a Sunday afternoon football, or a Monday night football, and they intersperse. But we have to get back our local players back on television, but not back on television, but being able to access the games at some point. And I'm really hoping, as I said, if not for right now, at the very least, the playoffs must be televised at the very least. All right, so with that, we jumped to our second break right here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
Jamaica, the national budget is here and it affects you, your family, your future, your community. It's all connected. Now is the time to get informed and get involved. What's new? What's changing? And how will it impact your daily life? Tune in on Tuesday, March 10 as the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, presents the 2026-27 Central Government Budget. The national budget is everybody's business. Visit mof.gov.jm for more details.
The Love Jockey is on duty every Saturday inside Youth Connection. Don't miss the hype. Don't miss the tunes. Don't miss the excitement with your boy, DJ Rebirth. Saturdays at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the family station, Love 101. At 3 p.m., your DJ runs the gospel rhythm. Hot, hot. Tune in at 4 p.m. for a time where we share a word to grow your mind. GYM, grow your mind. Jim, get it? Grow your mind. And at 4:30 p.m., we share with you how young people are giving all their time and fulfilling their purpose inside Ministry in Action. We get a taste of poetry and spoken word inside Poetry and Praise. And you get to send us a WhatsApp message and request your favorite gospel song inside Gospel Faves at 5. All this and more every Saturday at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. with your love jock, your boy, DJ Rebirth. It's all here on the family station. Love 101.
Youth Connection. Shubopti and them figured him provide everything on guide with power chat. Shubopti and them figured him alone make we appear when we did chat.
Every Saturday, 7 p.m. to midnight on Love 101. You're invited to travel in time with music at its best. It's the Gospel Music Machine with the Gospel Music Master, Nigel Wilkinson. From your favorite choir music to Christian contemporary, a touch of reggae and the Caribbean feel.
Gospel Music Machine with Nigel Wilkinson.
Nigel play the tune. Yep, the Gospel Music Master is still playing the tunes down alone. And he's definitely your music master. Saturdays, 7 p.m. to midnight. You won't regret the link. It's on the family station, Love 101.
That is all I need.
We now returning today to Kathya Davis, sports extraordinaire, on Sports Talk. Kathya.
Yes, Pastor Courtney. Welcome back to Sports Talk, right here on the family station, Love 101 FM. All right, so today, the Reggae Boys, in their lead up to playing in the playoffs, which actually come up next month. You know, when we played the last game in, was it November? March kind of felt far. March is next week. March is next week Sunday. I can't even believe that we're there. But all right. So the Reggae Boys, they will play Martinique. In Martinique today at 6:00. And I think it's gonna be live on the GFF Live page, if I'm not mistaken. So you can go there to watch the game. Of course, this is another game in leading up for the squad leading up, or I guess the local base squad leading up to those playoffs. So I think a lot of questions have been asked as to whether or not this is important, and why Martinique, why not a stronger side. Awesome. Listen, my thing is that once it is that we are getting in games and at least some of the players are playing together, we kind of will figure out no who is who and who is not who, or who really wants to play and who doesn't want to play. And then you have incidents of people not showing up for training and then getting cut from the squad because you're not serious. So at least we know you're not serious and we'll have to waste our time trying to hunt you down. Cool. Great. So that game comes up today at 6 p.m., which is gonna be a very interesting game, and I'm eager to see how it is that Coach Speed will go about this game. Will it look like our last friendly against, was it St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Right. What it will look like, or what will this game look like? And as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen there. And then another, I think I wanted to also share the under 20 team, but I'm not seeing that. But they're definitely in camp right now as they look to go to the under 20 CONCACAF qualifiers, right? So Jamaica is in group, I'm gonna tell you shortly what group they're in. They're in group B, and so they'll play Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis, Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, and Bonaire. So that's the group that Jamaica is in regarding to the under 20. And I will tell you now when they will play, if I find it. Right. So the match schedule is there. They'll definitely be playing between now, or between Monday and March 4th. So lots of those games are coming up. So they will play tomorrow. Let me just make sure. Yes. They're playing tomorrow against Bonaire. So they play, sorry, not tomorrow, but Monday. Jamaica will play Monday against Bonaire. They'll play Wednesday against Turk and Caicos Islands. And they will play Friday against Cayman Islands. They'll play next week Sunday against St. Kitts and Nevis. And then they close off these under 20 qualifiers with their game against Puerto Rico. And I do believe it's the same thing as it was for the under 17 as it is for the under 20. Top of the table, you head to the World Cup. Simple. No questions asked. You finish top of the table, and yeah. Right. Top of the table, and there it is, heading from the CONCACAF under 20 championship. You finish up on the table, you'll be heading to the under 20 World Cup. So that's what's going on. Now, earlier also this week, the women's team was also announced. The Jamaica women's team was also announced as well. The squad was announced, and they have their World Cup qualifiers coming up against Nicaragua. So the team is Sydney Schneider, goalkeeper Sydney Schneider, Rebecca Spencer, and Leah Brooks. The defenders, Tiana Harris, Konya Plummer, Chantel Swaby, Nea Cardoza, Cameron Simmons, Tiffany Cameron, and Alison Swaby. The midfielders, Atlanta Primus, Denisha Blackwood, Israela Groves, Jade Bailey, and Trudy Carter. And the forwards are Kayla McKenna, Chanel Buckley, Natasha Thomas, Shania Hales, Solia Washington, Kalicia Van Zetten, and Khadijah Shaw. Of course, we know Khadijah Shaw is in tip-top form, and some of these players also play in the American football system, right? The college football. So some of them would have been playing in the college championships, and so they've become available for this World Cup qualifying game against Nicaragua. And yeah, so we look forward. I didn't understand that. We will look forward to giving you the information on keeping you posted. So lots of football going on. The Jamaica, let me go again. The senior reggae boys, they'll be playing today against Martinique, 6 p.m. Jamaica time. Then the under 20 reggae boys will be playing in the under 20 championship, CONCACAF under 20 championship. They're playing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and next week Sunday. And then the senior reggae girls, they have their upcoming games against or upcoming game against Nicaragua. And I just told you about the squad. So lots of football, a lot of our players are in action now. So it's going to be, as I said, an interesting time coming up because football is going on, but also track and field is going on. And actually, I'm gonna take. All right, I was gonna take the break, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna go to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Jamaica Basketball Association. So, coming up, if you didn't know, international basketball will be in Jamaica next week. If you never know, now you know. Now you know. Can't say you didn't hear it here. And Jamaica will be hosting 2 games in that particular playoff that is happening. I'm gonna give you the information. Right. So there are 2 upcoming games on the 26th. So the 26th today is the 21st. So 5 days from now, which I do believe is next week, Thursday. Yes, Thursday, and then next week. So Thursday evening and next week, Sunday, there will be 2 games: Jamaica versus Barbados. That game tips off at 6:10 p.m. and both games are happening at the National Indoor Sports Center. So the first game that tips off at 6:10 p.m. on February 26th, and then Jamaica will play Canada on March 1st. That's Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Of course, I know we follow NBA, so some of us are interested in basketball. So there are tickets available to watch these games. So I encourage you, Basketball Jamaica, find out what's going on. This is the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. And I believe it's a little while. It's been a little while since we've had our qualifiers actually played here. And getting into this point of the tournament or this point of the qualification that we're actually trying to get to the FIBA World Cup, right? FIBA World Cup qualifiers. And we're having basketball right here in Jamaica. That is about to be very interesting at the National Indoor Sports Center. As I said, there are 2 games, one on Thursday, February 26th. That tips off at 6:10. And the second game comes up next week, Sunday, March 1st. And that tip-off is at 6 p.m. So I look forward to seeing all the basketball fans coming out and cheering for our national team. Yes, and of course, I do believe our NBA All-Star, Mr. Roman, is on the team, so he will also be present, and we're looking forward to that. So it's about to be a very interesting time. When we come back from our final break, we'll be skipping a little beat, going to some track and field, and I get you some updated results from what's going on in the corporate area champs that started yesterday but concludes today. So we'll be right back right here on Sports Talk on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Me wish me could have talked to somebody about my problem. But me don't know if me ready for everybody knows see me.
Why not text in your problem and hear what the suggestions are? We have a safe space for you to share your truth and to get the help you need.
Really? Where?
On Soul Talk, Confessions and Reflections in a Live, every Monday at 3 p.m. Submit your detailed message to 876-424-3642 or send an email to producer@love101.org and state if you prefer to remain anonymous. Choose from our categories: confession of regret, confession of gratitude, confession of weakness, confession of love, confession of conflict. By sharing your story, you'll not only find freedom but also receive advice, guidance, and solutions from our community of listeners who care.
Maaga text scene right now. Join the journey to healing, forgiveness, and breakthrough. Soul Talk, confessions, and reflections. Because sometimes the hardest truth leads to the greatest breakthrough.
Only on the family station,
Love
Love
101.
101.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal, to serve you better.
GT Sound Limited proudly presents the Experience Gratitude Edition. VIP 10,000, General pre-sold 2,500, 3,000 at the gate. Early bird tickets until the end of February 2,000. Students 1,500, children 500. Tickets at spuropen.com/The Experience 26. Saturday, April 4, Manchester High School. Gates open 5 p.m. Showtime 7 p.m. Come with your best praise as GT Sound celebrates 40 years.
The Gospel International presents a Breaking Barriers Liberty Edition on Saturday, February 28th to 2026 at the Maple New Testament Church, 57 Manchester Avenue, Clarendon, featuring Gotti Gotti, Sister Pat, John Mark Wiccan, Orpheus Sutherland, and more. Tickets 2,500 pre-sold, 3,500 at the gate. Children under 13, $1,000. Ticket outlets: Tate's Pharmacy, Maypen, Gibson Petroleum on Manchester Avenue, Morris Fish Hut at Clarendon Park. MCs Dexter Johnson and yours truly, the essence of Hits 92 FM. Sponsored by The Gospel International, Mick Wade, Garden Gold Cosmetics, Morris Fish and Jerk Hut, Good Line Pharmacy, Gibson Petroleum. That's Saturday, February 28, 2026. Breaking Barriers Liberty Edition. Be there.
Every blessing me have you get. God, me know you're not the
We now return you to the final segment of Sports Talk with Kathya Davis. Hey, Kathya, I hear you say you like field hockey. In 1983, I was a part of the winning team of Kingston College's victorious Enriquez Shield competition. I became the captain of the team the following year.
Nice. Love to hear that. Yeah. I played field hockey. Started in primary school. Played, I think, maybe 5 or 6 years. I definitely played 5 years in high school, starting from under 14s right up to under 19.
Nice.
So, yeah. And I also was juggling netball. And at the time, locally, we also had softball. I was on, I think St. Hughes probably won that first softball title, and I was on the team too. So I did quite a bit swimming as well. I did quite a bit in high school. I tell you, I don't know.
Wow.
I look back now and I don't know where I found the time, but I found the time, and yeah, here am I today. So my sports passion is not just it's from ever since. It's not just now. I didn't just wake up and.
I wish they had lacrosse while I was at KC, and the Kingston College team is doing so well.
They are, and I wish too, because lacrosse is a sport that I'm very much interested in, and I think I'd be good at it. Sorry, it wasn't introduced in my time. And of course, they have both Kingston College and St. Hughes have won many titles in lacrosse since its introduction. Of course, athletes through lacrosse have gotten to American schools through scholarships. So I tell you, sports is the avenue, people. Get your child involved in sports. It will help you. It will help your pockets. For sure, for sure. Especially, I mean, they don't have to be great. They just have to be good, really and truly. You really just have to be average. Trust me. Don't have to be great. Don't think that they have to be at the top of the peg. They don't have to be. They can just do it in college and get a scholarship and that pays for their college tuition and they can do everything else that they want after that. All right. So with that said, we're back in our final segment on Sports Talk. And with these few minutes left, we're going to be focusing or shifting our focus rather to some track and field happening now at the Ashenine Stadium at Jamaica College is the corporate area championships. And I'm fortunate enough to have some of the results. Before I get into what the current scores are in terms of team standings, because for one of them, I'm sure persons are going to be shocked. I won't say which one, but I want to take you back. Jamaica is always interested, or Jamaicans are always interested in sprints. But I want to take you back to some finals or some highlights of some finals that would have happened yesterday, beginning with the boys' class 1 long jump. Right? Should I start there? I feel so. Well, actually, let's start with the girls' class 3 1500 meters. This event, right? Okay, great. Girls class 3 1500 meters as the right. This event was won by Danoya Scott of Covenant of Mercy Alpha. She won in a time of 4 minutes 57.96 seconds, and that setting a new meeting record for the girls class 3 1500 meters. Second in that race was Kiona James from Melgrove. She set a personal best of 5 minutes, 16.87 seconds. And in third was Gabrielle Elizabeth Wellington from Campion College. She finished third in a personal best time of 5 minutes, 17.26 seconds. Then on to the boys' class 3 1500 meter finals. That was won by Kingston College's Julius Itobo, and he won in a meeting record of 4 minutes, 5.51 seconds. Second was Ricardo Lee of Jamaica College. He finished with a personal best of 4 minutes, 10.98 seconds. And third was Mikaloi Saunders from Jamaica College, also posting a personal best of 4 minutes, 33.80 seconds. On now to the boys' long jump class 1 finals. That was won by Omarion Miller from Kingston College. He leapt a distance of 7.30 meters. Second was Amani Phillips of Kingston College with 6.95 meters. And third was Siobhan Price of Calabar, 6.95 meters. Then now on to the girls' class 2 1500 meters. This was won in a personal best time by Kira Anderson from the Queen's School. She posted a time of 5 minutes, 7.93 seconds. And because I want to get in a lot of the results, I'll really just go with the winners now. The class 2 1500 meters, that was won by Cavell Nooks. In a and Cavell is from Jamaica College. He won in a personal best time of 4 minutes, 17.68 seconds. Jamaica College taking the 1-2 there in the 1500 meter class 2. In the 1500 meter class 1, that was won by Ashanti Parks of Covenant of Mercy Alpha in 5 minutes, 21.83 seconds. In the 1500 meter class 1 boys, that was won by Nashawn Ruto, Kingston College. He won in a personal best of 4 minutes, 3.44 seconds. All right. Now, on to some other results. The javelin throw was won in a meeting record, and this javelin throw open for girls was won in a meeting record by Zoe Jamel, and I think she's also the under 20. If I'm not mistaken, she is the reigning under 20 Caribbean champion. She won in a throw of 42.09 meters, and that was done, as I said, in a new meeting record. In the girls' Class 2 long jump, that was won by Regina Price. She's of Covenant of Mercy Alpha. She leapt 5.83 meters. The Class 3 high jump was won by Shanila White of Wilma's Girls, and she jumped a 1.65 to post a personal best in that. And then coming down, just giving you again highlights of yesterday, and then I'll hope to give you some highlights of today. Coming down to the girls' high jump final, that was won by Campions College Shevanko Henry, and she leapt to 1.70 meters, posting a season best. The girls' Class 2 shot put was won by Excelsior's Alicia Forrester. She threw 14.10 meters, throwing to a personal best there. And then coming down, I think yesterday finished with the sprints. And I'll give you the results from the sprints. But before I do, I'll give you the high jump. Class 1 girls was won by Serena Grant of Excelsior, 1.60 meters, and that's a personal best for Serena. The Class 3 long jump boys was won by Joel Patrickson of Kingston College. He leapt to 6.09 meters, leaping to a personal best there. And coming down. I'm gonna just run now to the sprints so I can give you some more results, right? So the girls' Class 4 100 meters, that was won by Immaculate Conception's Kristen Allen, posting a personal best time of 12.34 seconds. Second was Brianna Gray from Excelsior, 12.37 seconds. And Deisha Sigri of Wilmers was third in 12.56 seconds. All ladies in the top 3 posted personal best times. Going on now, the girls' Class 3 final were won by Alia Ross of the Covenant of Mercy Alpha. She ran personal best 12.15. Second was Abigail Brown of Immaculate, equaling her season's best with 12.25. And Philippa James from Alpha was third in 12.26 seconds. Going now, boys' Class 3, this event was won by Ajani Lumley. Actually, Wilmers did what we call in track and field a quinella, which means they finished first and second. Right. Ajani Lumley, he posted a new meeting record. Class 3, 10.84 seconds. Second was his counterpart, Joshua McWilliams, running 10.91 seconds for a new personal best there. In the girls' Class 2, that was won by, and I'll tell you shortly who won. And of course, these are results from the corporate area meet happening at the Ashenine Stadium at Jamaica College. The meet would have started yesterday. So these 100 meters, they were actually ran yesterday, and the meet concludes today. That was won by Natrice East. That's the girls' Class 2 100 meters was won by Natrice East in a time of 11.58 seconds, which is actually a new meeting record for Natrice. And the boys' Class 2 with the very small seconds that I have, coming up to less than a minute left to go in the show. Tyler Morgan of Jamaica College, Jamaica College, they were 1-2 in that boys' Class 2 100 meters. Tyler Morgan posting 10.83 personal best. Second was Orlando Anglin, still of Jamaica College, also 10.88, also a personal best. In the girls' Class 1 100 meters, this was won by, I'm going to tell you that shortly, who won that girls' Class 1 100 meter. Tiana Marshall of Wilmers Girls, 11.68 seconds, and she ran that with a personal best time. And then closing yesterday's evening corporate area champs was the boys 100 meters Class 1. That was won by Jamal Stevenson from Calabar, 10.36 seconds, posting a personal best, but it was a very close race. Tyrese Foreman of St. George's College, he was second, 10.37. Naron Wade from Kingston College was third in 10.40. Malik Nugent from Excelsior was fourth with 10.41. So I sure the judges had the finish line judges had a lot of work last night after the 100 meters for boys class 1 because they had a lot of work to do. But as we go, as I'm currently out of time, I'll give you the point standings now and the updated point standings as I have it now. Currently leading on the boys side. I'll give you the top 3. Let me go in other way. Third is in Calabar, 108.5 points. Second, Jamaica College, 203 points. And first, in first place, Kingston College, 215 points. On the girls' side, third, Excelsior, the defending champions, 139 points. Second, Alpha Academy, 157.33 points. And in first, with a whopping 220 points at corporate area girls champions, leading now Immaculate Conception with 220 points. Something is happening up there at Constant Spring Road with those Immaculate girls doing very, very well at these corporate area championships. And with that, we close Sports Talk. Join me next week for another fantastic, amazing time. And I talk to you. We have cricket to talk about, Super 8s going on for the West Indies. So we got those games to talk about next week. We got some be able to talk about some basketball. We're able to talk about Jamaica footballers, the under 20s, the senior team. Stay with Stick and Stay. And of course, I'll give you the rest of the results from the corporate area championship, as well as what has happened with the Western championships, and that's happening at GC Foster. It's been an amazing time as usual. Thanks for sticking and staying right here on the family station. This has been Sports Talk. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes. Just listen to Kathya Davis on Sports Talk. Let's go. Let's do this.